This is the FitFems movement. Have you felt overwhelmed with your fitness journey and feel like you just want to give up? Are you a busy female professional or entrepreneur looking for weight loss and self-care solutions that you can squeeze into your hectic schedule? Then you're in the right place. Let's get inspired to make fitness and healthy living improve rather than consume your life. Together, we'll take major strides towards a happier, healthier, even wealthier you. I'm Julia Hickman, your host and coach. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us here today, back on the Facebook Live series and the FitFems Movement podcast. So if you are new, if you're watching this for the first time, I'm Julia. I am the creator of the FitFems Movement podcast and this Facebook community as well. And I love helping women make fitness something that improves rather than consumes their lives. But we all know that fitness is not the only important thing in our lives. So I love to bring guest experts with me to share valuable tips to improve your lives in all different ways. So I'm really excited to be here with Lauren Dreher. I hope I'm pronouncing your last name correctly, Lauren. You can correct me. But really happy to be chatting with Lauren today. She is going to be sharing with us a few interesting things. Hold on one second. Of course, I just clicked away from. This is real life, guys. This is not scripted. Where did my bio go? Oh my goodness. Where do we go? Okay, guys, bear with me for a moment. Okay, here we go. So Lauren is, she's a mindset enthusiast. After finding herself in a rut and needing some fulfillment, she started to take action and make changes. And her mission is to help others shift their mindset, learn to change their habits, and take charge of their lives. And her latest book is called Go With Your Gut, Then Keep Going. And I love that. So Lauren, tell us a little bit more about you. Tell us about how you what you were doing before, how you got started with your business, like what really inspired you to do what you're doing.
Absolutely. So I have always been in the healthcare industry. I have a degree in family studies and human services. And so I've always been that helper type. And I guess probably about 6 or 7 years after I graduated college, I had been in a couple jobs that they were good, but not quite where I wanted to be. And before it was cool to work from home, I was working from home. And I remember at one point, I just was waking up every morning and I was just angry. And I'm not an angry person. I was waking up angry, which makes for a really long day.
Yes.
And so one day I said, okay, something has got to change. I can't go and do this every single day. And, my day would just spiral. Everything I did would just be a disaster. So I grabbed a who knows how old spiral from my office shelf. And I literally just started writing. And I'm just like, everything I was thinking, everything I was frustrated with. And I started doing that on the daily. And so not very long after that, I was sitting at my desk once again, and I said, this can't be it. This can't be what I'm going to do for the rest of my life. And so I once again got down a piece of paper and I started writing things down. I'm like, no matter how crazy it sounds, no matter how ridiculous what I'm writing down is, what are things that I would like to do? What are things that I could do? And so then I had a list of probably 6 or 7, and I started crossing them off thinking, yeah, maybe that's not quite what I need to do. So I came to a personal chef because I always like to cook, and a professional speaker. And I'm looking at this list thinking, okay. So maybe a day later, I text my mother. I said, I need a coffee with you. And we sat down and I said, tell me how crazy I am for wanting to do these two things. And she goes, I don't think you're crazy at all. She goes, I think both of these are a lot of work. She goes, here are the obstacles I see. And lo and behold, she goes, if you want to be, here's the obstacles for a personal chef. Here is everything you probably need to do for that. And to be a public speaker, she goes, I think you have a great message. And I think you could do that. You're not afraid to get up in front of people. I said, no, sure not. And so she said that you need to develop yourself. You need to develop your message, all of these things. And so I sat there thinking, ooh, I could do that. Okay, I could develop that. At that point, I said, I'm going to be a professional speaker for helping women and people develop confidence inside and be able to work past their self-image on the outside. I was born with birthmarks. I grew up with scars on my face. And so up until maybe, I don't know, I want to say 10 years old or so. And I was wearing makeup at that point, but it was scar cover up. So it wasn't like the, girly stuff that everybody wears later in life. And so I wanted to help people be able to work past their outer image and be able to build up their confidence and their mindset inside so that they could be happy with themselves outside, because even though we fix what's on the outside, sometimes we're still a mess on the inside, right? Yeah. And so after I started doing that, I ended up taking a huge personal development dive for myself. And I started doing all of these different things. I kept writing it. I write in a journal almost every day because I'm human. I started listening to a devotional. I started being very selective about the things I listened to or anything. I started listening to a whole bunch of podcasts, the people that I followed on social media, anything I put in my head, what I was reading. I've always been a huge reader. So anything that I was putting in my head, I started filtering that. So after that, I became my passion for mindset just blossomed. And ever since that, I'm like, okay, here's all the steps after my turning point, that turning point of saying, I need to fix something. Here's all the steps that I have taken to do it for myself, to go from angry every morning to sometimes it takes a little bit more time, but being able to pull myself out of a nasty day and say, how can this day not go to waste? How can I turn around and make this a good thing? How can I find something good and an opportunity out of this day and out of what's going on, rather than just being like, my life sucks, this sucks, everything sucks, and everybody around me is out to get me. So that's kind of a rather long bulleted version of how I got to where I am.
That's wonderful. I mean, it's such a powerful story too, and I think many people can relate to many aspects of what you went through. Even though we all have our own individual things, right? We all have our cross to bear. But yeah, you're so right. It's about what you do. It's about how you think of what you're going through, right? It's not like, okay, like you said, like everybody's out to get me. It's like, okay, it's not like what's happening to me, but what's happening for me so that I can become a better person, so that I can, really develop myself and become the best version of me that I could be, right? And that's really, really powerful that you went through that journey and now you have this wonderful story to tell. And I can relate to so many things that you talked about in different ways, but even like the whole body image as well. I have a birthmark that you can only see when I wear a bathing suit, and it's something that, like, when I was younger, I used to be like used to try to cover it up, and as I got older, I just kind of, it wasn't easy. It was definitely not an overnight thing, but it was just something that I slowly was just like, okay, you know what? I don't care. I don't
Yep.
care anymore. This is me. Like, it is what it is. Um, and but yeah, I love that. And it's really like, it's like, I forget the quote, but it's something like, our mindset is something, it's kind of like you can choose your thoughts. Like, it's kind of like the clothes that you put on every day. You can choose the thoughts, you can choose like the mindset that you want to be in every day, no matter what is going on.
Yep.
You also, I know that you have, like loving yourself, like self-love is something that's important to you. Do you want to tell us a little bit more about how to learn to love ourselves, and how to find the people that support you and like really help you become the best you?
So that for me has been a very interesting concept to grasp, because I have recently figured out that one of my bigger blocks was all of going through all of these changes obviously changed me from who I was in the beginning to who I am, how I think, how I do things now. And it's been very interesting to see that the people around you, like, some of them are kind of like, okay, great, like, good for you, awesome. And some of them are kind of like, okay, cool. And it almost becomes kind of like you have to be so excited and confident in yourself and what you're doing and how you feel about yourself to be like, you know what? I'm like, I love who I'm becoming. I love how I do things. And it's okay if you don't. It's okay if somebody, I don't know, doesn't support you how you want, or if somebody doesn't necessarily agree with what you're doing. There's always going to be those people. And it took me a long time to get past that. There's a part of my book that I titled Recovering People Pleaser, because I've always been somebody to say, like, I want to help everybody. I want to be there for everybody. And I learned that sometimes I have to be there for myself. I have to do things for myself. And sometimes that means having my own schedule and sticking to it, not getting that call, hey, do you want to go do this? Or can you do this? It might be I can't today, or I can't do this.
Yeah.
And finding those people that find a way to support you, that say, you can do it. It's not going to be hard. It's not going to be easy. Maybe here are some resources, or they support you in some way. That is another thing that I've learned, is that people don't always support you in the way that you want them to support you. It doesn't mean that they don't, but they support you in a way maybe that you need instead of what you want. And that has been a big thing for me, of like finding my people and kind of being okay with all of that, because it's kind of, at some points I'm like, I feel like this person isn't, doing this for me, or I want them to do this, when that's just not who they are, how they are, whatever the case may be. And I think we get very hurt by that kind of stuff, when in all reality, like, that's our thoughts and our way of maybe not having the confidence within ourselves of, okay, I need to figure out another way of doing this. So being able to have confidence in yourself, that you're doing what you're doing, and that it doesn't matter what you're doing, you're going to do it for you. you're not doing it for somebody else, and not everybody may be okay with that.
Exactly. And I feel like when we are, like both of us, we are online entrepreneurs, right? So I feel like we have, we have like the mission that we are on, we have like the message that we want to share, we know like the type of people that we want to help. So we can't please everyone. But I know it's hard, and especially in the beginning when you're just like, oh, but I have this gift and I just want to give it to everybody. I want to make everybody happy. So I totally understand where you're coming from. But also, I feel like when trying to find the people that do support you, I feel like sometimes our family members and friends, especially like unless they are in a similar field, like unless they're in our industry, it's hard for them to understand and they don't always know how to support. So like, for example, for me, one of the things that has helped has been like becoming a part of online communities where there are other people who are doing, similar things that I'm doing, and people that you can like exchange ideas with. That's actually why I love having this podcast, because I get to have conversations with other smart women who are doing great things out there. And let's see, I know had another question I wanted to ask you. Can you share a little bit more about like the concept of like being okay with who you are, who you want to be, and taking that road less traveled? We kind of got into it about, being okay with that. Not everybody's going to understand or accept whatever it is that we're doing, but like, how do you learn to just like be okay with taking that road less traveled?
So that is something I have not completely mastered, but that I have gotten a lot of clarity on more recently. And it took a couple people telling me pretty much the same thing in a few different ways for me to actually have that light bulb moment, be like, oh, okay. I have figured out that when I am talking to people, when I'm writing, a couple other things that I enjoy doing, and it gives me energy. We all have to do things that nobody wants to do or that we don't enjoy. But I've found the things that, whether it be the middle of the day, the end of the day, I can spend, maybe 20, 30 minutes or longer doing it. And all of a sudden, like, I'm re-energized and I'm in a great mood, and I'm, walking with the swagger through my house, doing the things that I don't want to do. All of those things, I started to realize and think, okay, like, this is what I need to put more energy into doing. And I started to realize how much all of those things lit me up. And like, this is the space that I need to be in. And a lot of people don't necessarily understand that. And it took me a long time to say, I don't have a background in this. This is not what I've done my entire life, and that's okay. It's okay to do something that not everybody is doing, or somebody might say, it's really tough to get into that field, or you're going to claw your way in. And there have been, I can think of numerous times where I'm like, okay, I'm like, today's not a good day. My brain's telling me no, but so either, give me something that says stay the course or take it away. And every single time it's been somebody reaching out to me or an email, or I'll find something that, just tells me solely to keep going, that nobody else would really understand. And so I'm like, okay, not like, compared to the rest of the world, very few people are going to have the guts to do this, because there's no certainty. There's no like, here's your golden ticket. It's going to work out. And it is just pure blind, like, I'm going to make this happen because it gives me, I have passion. It gives me energy. I love to do it. It gets me out of bed in the morning. And sometimes I think we're terrified to take that road less traveled because it's rough. It's not something ordinary, and you're going to have to get creative, get resourceful, and push down a lot of not even other people's self-doubt, but your own. And it takes practice, and it takes daily, if not hourly practice. And it's something that I struggle with all the time, but I'm just like, nope, I keep on doing this. And all the things that I've done are things that I would never have done or never had the confidence to do even 5 years ago. And I'm like, okay, obviously something's going on. If I'm like, yeah, let's make this happen. I will make this happen. I will make this phone call, even though I hate making phone calls.
Yeah. Well, most of the time, the things that we are meant to be doing, the things that we are supposed to be doing, they don't come in a pretty little bow. They're pretty scary.
Yes.
But it's like once you're on the right track, when you, like you said, when you're getting up, you're getting out of bed every morning and you're like, I want to be doing this work. I want to be doing what I'm doing. Like, it makes me feel fulfilled. No matter how hard the little tactics and the little nuances of the whole thing is. So that's wonderful. So to wrap it up here, Lauren, is there anything else that you want to share with us? Do you want to tell us a little bit about your book, or any other way that people can work with you? Feel free to share with us.
Absolutely. So a little bit about the book. It is the people that would probably benefit the most. It is somebody who is looking for just a little bit more. It came to me thinking, I'm in a rut. And this book is there's no blood, but tears and guts. Honestly, there's so many stories of me and all the things from my past that are like, oh yeah, that makes sense. That's what led me here. And some of the hardships that I've gone through to get me where I am, and some tips, tricks, and just things that, little words of advice for people to say, you can do it. It will be hard. You might fall off the bus a couple times, but that doesn't mean you can't do it. Get back on, figure it out, and do it for you. There's so much, we go through so much fear of what could happen. And I don't know if it's fear of failure or fear of success, but one thing I've learned is there's no success without failure. And I've failed plenty of times on my own, but the successes make all the failures worth it.
Absolutely.
Oh, and if anybody wants to get in touch with me or see all the things that I'm doing, my website is cheesily livelifewithlauren.com.
That's wonderful. And I will share those links in the show notes for the podcast. Lauren, thank you so much for being here with us today. And everybody listening, go check out the book, go check out her website. And Lauren, can't wait to see what else you get into after all this. So good luck to you.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been fun.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the Fit Femmes movement.
I would love to hear your thoughts on the podcast. So please leave us a review. And sharing is caring. If you know someone who may benefit from this episode, please share it with them. We need more women up-leveling to their highest selves with grace, courage, and ease. If you'd like to connect with me more and have access to free live trainings and join a community of hundreds of other amazing women, then join my free Facebook group, the Fit Femmes Tribe.